Today we're going to talk about how to adjust the secondary air door on a Quadra-Jet carburetor. These secondary air door adjustments are very important. It is what initiates the flow of fuel through the secondary fuel nozzles. If you don't have enough tension on that secondary air door, it will open too early and too easily, and it will bog. It'll because it's getting too much air and it's too lean. And so there's a tension adjustment on these. And from the factory, they're normally set pretty close. It's very rare that you'd ever have to adjust one on an all original setup. But if you take a carburetor off a 305 and put it on a 350, or one from a 454 and put it on a 350, there's going to be a noticeable change. You will in all likelihood have to adjust that air door to make the vehicle run properly. If you were to put a 454 carburetor on a 305, it would be way too lean initially, and vice versa. If you put a 305 carburetor on a 454, that 454 pumps so much air, that secondary air door is going to be a restriction, and it will cause too much fuel to flow through the nozzles. So I'm going to show you how to adjust it. First, you have to notice that there is a lock screw right here. This little screw, it takes a T10 Torx. What you do is you back that up. That lock screw threads in and touches the shaft. There's a shaft that the spring is wound around, and that shaft is what tensions the spring. And I'll show you how to do that here. Through the side then, you have the adjustment screw. And what you do is, with the set screw loose, you turn that adjustment screw until the secondary air doors just close. You want to rotate it. Firstly, you relax it. You go unwind it a little bit. And then you're going to turn it clockwise until you bring those doors up and just barely close them. See, that's more than just barely close, so we're going to back up slightly. Yeah, there we go. That's just about exactly where we want to start. Just barely closed. Now, this is a 305. This is an electric 305. It's got the feedback carburetor. And I happen to know that these need to be set at 1.5 turns from just barely closed. So we're going to go half, 1.5. And now we'll have the proper secondary air door tension, or close to it, for a 305. And then after you get that set, then you go in here and lock down your adjustment screw. And that'll keep that adjustment screw from turning. You just want to snug it up. It doesn't have to be real tight, just snug. And that's it. And now your secondary air door tension is properly set. Now, if it bogs when you first get into the secondaries, you'd want to tighten that up a little bit. You might want to go, instead of a 1.5 turns, you might want to go 1 3/4 turns. 1/4 turn is a lot. Likewise, if it's too rich when you're into the secondaries, if it's too rich, you're blowing smoke out the exhaust, and you can tell it's not getting enough air, then you'd want to back it up 1/4 turn, and then lock that lock screw back down. And that's how you set the secondary air door tension. The mystery is solved.